Is it on? It is on. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Eggs and Issues. My name is Berkenda. We're here with the Orange Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us for the June installment. We appreciate you for being here. Nothing? No claps? It's June. We made it to June. It's a gorgeous day outside. That deserves applause.
Half the year is over. Yeah.
We make the applause sign. Well, today's segment is an open format. I've seen many of your faces before, so you guys know this is all about you. This is your time. I'm just here in this seat to kind of facilitate some of the questions, but definitely if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll answer as many as possible while still keeping on schedule. And then with that, it is my pleasure to introduce today's guest. We have the Honorable Young Kim here with us today. Young Kim, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Before we dive into some questions, I want to tell you a little bit about Congresswoman Kim. Congresswoman Young Kim is proud to represent California's 40th District, which includes parts of Orange, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties in the U.S. House of Representatives. An immigrant, small business owner, community leader, mother, and grandmother, Young is proud to be one of the first Korean American women ever to serve in Congress and help all Americans have the chance to achieve their dream just like she did. As an immigrant to the United States, Young has dedicated her life to giving back to her community. She started her public service as Director of Community Relations and Asian Affairs for former Congressman Ed Royce, where she was a key liaison to the district and advisor on issues pertaining to the Asian American community and foreign policy. Prior to serving in Congress, Young was the first ever Korean American Republican to serve in the California State Assembly. As an Assemblywoman, Young fought to grow jobs, support small businesses, ensure public safety, promote educational opportunities, support veterans, and protect victims of domestic violence. Young is a small business owner, a longtime community leader, and has been actively involved in numerous organizations throughout the 40th District and in Orange County. She and her husband, Charles, are the proud parents of 4 grown children, Christine, Kelly, Alvin, and Hannah. Congresswoman Kim, I know you're extremely busy. I see all of your social media that you're just everywhere. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Very happy to be back in the district. I came back just over the weekend, and I'll be here until after the 4th of July weekend. So I look forward to seeing many of you out in the community.
Nice. We hope you can join us for the 3rd of July.
I will. That's on the calendar. Yes.
Awesome. I'd be happy to have you for that.
Yes.
Well, many of our members are business owners and companies, large and small, across Orange. So I thought it'd be a great way to start is if you can tell us what you're working on for local businesses.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me again, Berkenda. And this is a full house. Wonderful. So I serve on the Financial Services Committee in current Congress. But when I first started as a freshman, I was assigned to serve on the Small Business Committee. And I really thank God and many of you for it, for allowing me to serve. Small businesses, as you know, you've heard it millions of times, you are the backbone of our economy. And when I started my first term, it was during the pandemic. Businesses were locked down, and we had just rolled out the CARES Act to provide the PPP loans. But when I first started, I realized that PPP loan program was coming to an end at the end of the first quarter in 2021. And there were a lot of unspent millions and billions of dollars, and that money would have been gone away without ever being spent for the rightly intended purposes. So one of the first things I did was work in a bipartisan way with my Democratic and Republican colleagues to provide a very short-term solution so we can have that money provided to the small businesses. So we did the PPP Extension Act, and through that we were able to help process additional 2.7 million loan applications to the tune of $54 billion. Again, the monies were already appropriated. These are the type of things I think when you send members to Congress to work locally, identify the issues that are important for you, and try to provide a common sense solution. I did that. Now I continue that work in the Financial Services Committee, and I also realized access to capital is critically important for small businesses, especially those from the ethnic communities, minority communities, woman-owned, veteran-owned. There is a lot of resources available, but we're not getting it to them. So I want to make sure that one of my policy priorities is identify those and bring those resources to you at the local level and make sure capital is available. So again, working on that and doing some oversight on that committee, especially this year when I started the 118th Congress, you saw just from California, the banks failing. And it's a responsibility of the Financial Services Committee to do oversight. And we've done multiple hearings on it to find out the cause of what happened, what failed, why it occurred, and then what we can do going forward so we can avoid any more banks from failing. Because banks, if we go into that situation again, and then we're also overseeing the CFPB and their rules that they're throwing at you without the proper process of getting the input from the stakeholders. So CFPB, despite all of these financial crises that's happened with the banks failing from California, SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, and then most recently First Republic, they continue to come through with the planned rules and regulations to limit the capital or increase the capital requirements. And if they do that, the banks may be in a better position because they have more capital, but that means less money available for the businesses. So I'm looking into those things as well. So again, access to capital is very, very important. So that's what I'm working on the Financial Services Committee.
Very nice. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing on that for us.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it. Another thing that's important that I saw recently is that I believe District Attorney Todd Spitzer hosted several members of Congress as well as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
Yes.
That had to do very much with what's going on locally as far as crime, fentanyl. Can you talk to us a little bit about that meeting? How did that go? What were you guys talking about?
Absolutely. This was brought to our attention from our very own Orange County DA, Todd Spitzer. Mm. There are many counties that are dealing with this across the country, East Coast, West Coast, and everything in between. But it was our OCDA who brought it to our attention and caught the ear of our Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, who is also from California. And Todd Spitzer and Speaker McCarthy had served together in the state assembly, so he had a direct access. Sent him the text message, emails, as well as sending it to myself and other colleagues from California, raising the awareness of this growing home burglaries and robberies that is occurring right here in Orange County. And so we decided, since we represent Orange County, and I've heard this from my constituents, and when I had the breakfast with all the mayors from my city, they were telling me about the number of home burglaries that is happening right here in my district, Orange, Villa Park, especially Laguna Hills. In the city of Orange, I've had several friends, personal friends, whose homes have been broken into. And then I'm tying it all together. And so we went to the speaker, and he invited the Orange County delegation, including myself and two other members. Mm-hmm. So we had a briefing presented to us by the Department of Homeland Security, Department of the FBI, and the other local and county law enforcement officials. They gave us a briefing and the statistics that this is really serious. It's not just somebody's home being broken into once and then that's it. Some homes right here in Orange County have been broken into back to back twice. City of Laguna Hills, for example, the mayor was telling me they have over 80 Chilean gang-related home burglaries that's happened. So we heard all of these, and so we tracked it down to the cause of it. And that's because Chile is the only South American country that is given visa waiver program. With that program, we give the Chilean government to vet the passengers that will be traveling to the United States just on a tourist passport. With that program, they are allowed to go online and apply for ESTA program, which is the electronics system to give you the travel document. So all you have to do is pay $21. So we have, between the United States and Chile government, MOU, and according to that MOU, it's up to the Chile government to vet the criminal activities of those individuals that are getting on the plane to come to the United States. But Chile has been failing to do that. And when they go online and answer those 12 simple questions, included in that will be, have you broken the law? Have you committed any crimes before? Of course, they lie. They can write anything they want, but because Chile is not vetting that, background, we come here. And then many times when they are caught invading people's homes, doing burglaries and doing robberies, we find them and we don't know where they are from because they don't write themselves as a Chilean national. They could be somebody that you're not. So this is the cause of the problem that is occurring in our communities, and they're very sophisticated. They get trained in Chile, in South America. They come here. They know how to surveil your homes. They stake out for weeks, for months, if needed. They learn your behavior. And when the moment comes when you're gone, they will go into your house. They don't just go through behind, back doors. They go straight through the front door because they know how to do this. And then they steal hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of your personal goods, not just talking about the jewelries and stuff, but again, comes with it. It's your emotional, the valuables that you're losing, which can never be recovered. So we're getting down to the bottom of it. And the solution that we're trying to come up with is, again, that visa waiver program, we can take it off and strip that off from the Chile government. But to do that, we need to start that process of our government listing Chile as a country or area of concern. That starts that process. And then, as we are going through the appropriations process in Congress right now, we can review how our dollars are being used to fund the visa waiver or ESTA program. That is just another way of doing it. But again, there are 40 countries that are given visa waiver program. So stripping that off entirely is not something that I would support immediately, because that would mean just to get after Chile, we are affecting the other 39 countries that the visa waiver program works really well. So we have to think about all of these. But again, I sent a letter to, Homeland Security in Mayorkas, who, by the way, oh my God, that's another conversation. I'm telling him to start that process.
Right.
List Chile as an area of concern or country of concern, and then let's take that country away. We can always give that status to another country that is deserving of this status, because that visa waiver program allows people to come here for 90 days without a visa, and then they can come here for either just simple tourism. Come to Orange, spend money. Yeah. We welcome that.
Yes.
But they have to go back before 90 days.
Now, as far as timing on that, what do we see that looking like? As far as it sounds like there's so many things to be done.
Yeah.
Timing wise, what does that look like as far as perhaps any improvement on that?
So again, we have the appropriation process reviewing this. Mm-hmm. So we are looking at multiple areas. Again, if the provision includes stripping the funds for the entire 40 countries that are using the VWF, I think that's going to be met with a little bit of a hesitation there from a lot of members, including myself here. Mm-hmm. But again, looking at this issue, working closely with local law enforcement, giving them the resources. That's another way that we can do it. In the appropriations funding, give the money to local law enforcement so that beef up their ability to go after these the very sophisticated South American theft groups. That is what it's called.
Right. Perfect. Any questions about that? I know that was a very weighty topic.
Yeah.
No, okay. And other topics that are very weighty.
Oh
Let's
my
talk
God.
about fentanyl.
If I can talk to you about, because I know in the audience, we have a lot of members that are realtors and
Yes,
in the financial services services areas. I think one of the things that is really working on right now is the economic package that is Ways and Means Committee looking into this. So there are several provisions that will extend the expiring provisions from the 2017 tax, the Tax and Jobs Economic Act that we passed in 2017. I am supportive of the extending the expiring provisions, but I would also like to see, as a co-chair of the SALT caucus, state and local taxes, I would like to see that being addressed to the level that will be helpful for Californians, especially where we are in 40th District in Orange County. When you consider the median home prices, Elle, you can confirm this one, at least $1 million. And SALT currently has a cap at 10,000, right? If you're a homeowner with anywhere from 800,000 and above, that 10,000 cap doesn't help you at all. And so I am working on trying to find a meaningful solution to address this in this Congress, whether it's just meaningful. There are a lot of numbers being thrown out, whether or not it's going to be 30, 60, 30 for single, or 60 for married couples, or 40, 80, 60, 120. So there are different versions. We haven't come up with a dollar yet. But if we cannot get to that, it will not be because we're not trying. Another best scenario is let it expire by 2025. That's another solution. So I just want you to know I'm working hard on your behalf to address this SALT issue that has affected my ability to keep hard-earned money in my own pocket as well as your pockets. So that's very important that other than California and New York and New Jersey folks, people don't want to address this. I'm telling you, we need to address this. So I'm working in a bipartisan way on this. This is, again, my colleagues from New York, New Jersey, Josh Gottheimer, myself, Andrew Garbarino, myself, we are, again, working in this to try to fix this.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Fentanyl is something that we talk about just about every eggs and issues that comes up. And so I know that you're working on a couple things to do with fentanyl.
Yeah.
I believe was it Anti-Money Laundering Act? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I serve on the subcommittee on national security and illicit finance on the Financial Services Committee, as well as chairing the Indo-Pacific subcommittee on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. So there is that overlap of policy jurisdiction. We're looking into our border, which is the cause of a lot of the fentanyl and illicit activities, especially drugs, through the cartels that is bringing those fentanyl through our southern border. Much of, let's say, up to 60% of the fentanyl that we're apprehending are coming from the ports of entry at San Diego and Imperial counties. It's very close to where we are in Orange County. And Orange County Sheriff Department has shared the latest statistics. The number of fentanyl that they are apprehending has increased about 1,800% in the last few years. Throughout the statewide and nationwide, 2,300%. So this is very, very serious. And what we are also finding is that there are Chinese syndicates, companies that are funding the operation of the drug cartels. So we're going after those drug cartels to put a stop to this, and we're working very closely through the CFIUS, which is the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States. That's another areas where we can go after what companies are pretending to be working in the United States, investing and opening up their businesses, and then working with those drug cartels to allow them to funnel their operation. So that's another way that we're looking at. Again, fentanyl is, as you heard, #1 cause of death for especially American youth between the ages of 18 and 45. And this is the formidable age where we need their leadership. They are our future leaders. Many of you here, I'm a grandma, so I am beyond that age group, before and after, but we need to be looking at how, because we have so many teenagers in my own district that have died by accidental dosage of fentanyl because they thought they were just taking medicine for their headaches or migraine headaches. You never know what's happening. So we need, and then of course it's very sophisticated. They're now making it like M&M candies, right? It's so colorful. So you think you're taking that. So we need to put a stop to this. So we're working on that as well.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yes.
Any questions so far?
Bring it on.
Oh, good. I like that.
Yes.
As a small business owner, we have more on the construction side. Do you see any headway, especially in California, for the rapid workman's comp that is just ravaging small business? It's literally killed us over the last few years.
Yeah, I think there might be solutions that the state is working on. Again, each of the states have their own legislature working into this. So let's talk to our state legislators, which is also very difficult. But no, seriously, I am addressing those issues at the federal level. We already have so many, because of the COVID pandemic, we have created a monster out of our programs. People don't want to come back to work because they're more incentivized to stay at home because of the federal dollars that we've been able to provide. People don't want to come back to work at the restaurants because they think that it's easier just to come and work maybe a few weeks and then go and get the unemployment benefits. So we got a lot of problems here. When I served in the California State Legislature, I saw how these horrendous rules and regulations and the bills that are being passed at the state level. Let's talk about AB 5, for example. Well, we know that was #1 reason, or many primary reasons why California families and businesses have left the state. So much so that in the last 10 years, in the last decade, we lost over 1.5 million Californians to other states. To the level we lost 1 congressional seat because we lost that population. Now, I got elected, and then first thing that our Congress is introducing is HR 1. They want to nationalize California's failed policy like AB 5. So it was very easy for me to get up and debate with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle. You know, this is the reason why California is hurting our businesses and families. So all I ask you is to do the opposite of what California Sacramento policymakers are doing. Enough said.
Great question. Thank you so much for asking. So we are nearing the end of June. I can't believe it. And with that, unfortunately, brings fire season.
Oh, yes.
And so I've seen that you've done a couple of different acts. You're working on a couple different acts.
Right.
I see that you have the Wildfire Tech Demonstration, Evaluation, Modernization, and Optimization, which is demo. And then also NIST, which is the Wildfire Communications and Information Dissemination Act.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about those? I know that NIST, it seems, was born of talking to like Orange County Fire Authority and working on getting information out there, but what can we share with everyone as we're heading into fire season that's going to be worked on?
And it's especially important because my district has a lot of canyon communities, and our district is very prone to the wildfires, right? Mm-hmm. And so this, the idea came about from my roundtable discussions with the stakeholders, firefighters, and California Weather Services, or National Weather Service. We came together, and then I heard from them that in the situation where the firefighters are on the ground fighting those fires, risking their lives, it's very difficult for them to get the information on what's really happening, especially those flying the helicopters in the air. What they see, they need to get that information down to the local firefighters immediately, but that's not happening. So I introduced that NIST legislation in order to have a better communication vertically. At the horizontal level, they communicate themselves well, but that information has to be brought down to the local level. So that simply says, let's have a better information sharing among all stakeholders from the federal, state, and local levels. And then when I moved into this new district, I also found out that a lot of private entities are working on new technologies, including the AI, the artificial intelligence. And they're utilizing these new technologies to detect wildfire and how to fight those. But they need real-time, at-scale places to test those out. So my legislation, Demo Act, actually is a win-win for private entities to test their new technologies, and it's a win-win for federal government land management to, because they're always looking for new ways to employ these technologies, but they are not able to do it because of the cost involved. So we're actually establishing 4-year testbed pilot program. So private and public entities can come together. And by golly, I hope that we don't have a major wildfire in our district. But when that happens, we have the technology, we have the private companies who are already employing these at scale, go test it out. And we are attracting a lot of co-sponsors in the beginning stage. I already introduced it, but we have the San Bernardino County firefighters also supporting this. And then I believe there are a lot of D-Line, ITI. There are many companies and local entities, like a lot of the firefighters and local fire stations. They're also providing their letters of support. If this is something that you can provide at the chamber level, because it affects all of us in our homes, I would greatly appreciate that as we go into the markup of that bill in the committee. The more support that we have that I can show, we will have a better opportunity to get it through the legislative process right away. So I think it's a win-win. We need to continue to be more vigilant, in fighting those, but at the same time, it also affects our ability to have our affordable home insurances too. Many of you are already involved in that. We know State Farm, Allstate, they're already saying they're leaving the state because of the high cost of insuring homes, especially in places like Orange, Anaheim Hills, Villa Park, and especially in the Trabuco Canyon areas where my district is. They're not going to insure any new home owners, but they promised me, because we had a conversation about this with all the insurance company representatives, that they are going to continue to provide the services, but unless something happens and the policies change, this is at the state level too. So it's not something that the state, federal government just unilaterally dictate them to stay, don't do anything differently. They need to work with the insurance commissioner, Laura, in Sacramento, and try to come out with some workable solution.
Definitely.
So I know we're running out of time, but
we're good.
I promise I'll stay and talk to each of you and try to answer any other questions.
What I was going to say is that there are so many topics. What's the best way for the community to stay involved?
Oh my God, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Yes. Brandon is here, a member of,
We love Brandon.
yes. So he represents Orange. So he's your first line of point of contact. And so bring any issues and questions through Brandon. But you also know you can contact me. We have 2 offices, Anaheim Hills and also in Mission Viejo. I also have a mobile office hours in the city of Laguna Woods. And anytime I come back in the district, usually on the weekends, but I'm so thankful that I get to stay here for a week because this is our district work period. So I get to see many of you. I look forward to seeing you again, celebrating the 4th of July, our nation's birthday, and we're going to do a lot of fun stuff. Right?
Definitely.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I love. I had a chance to look over your social media. I see Brendan all the time, but I see that you're out and about in the community. Yes. We saw you out at our Duke of Orange. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, my favorite event. Oh my God, in Orange. Orange, through the Orange Chamber of Commerce, you do a lot of activities, and I've been to many of your events. But I think I'm going to say Duke of Orange was by far the most fun event, and maybe next year we can encourage Brendan to. That was so much fun. Invite me again, and I hope I'm back here after that.
Yes. I know. Connie, make sure and get his application now.
Okay, now you're on the hook now. There's no way we're getting away.
You're going to be our first applicant. So free time. It doesn't seem like you have much. I would love to know, I know you have your 4 children, you've got grandchildren. What's one thing, like what's one of your guilty pleasures, let's say, that you like to do when you actually have some downtime?
Oh my God, if I do have any downtime, I try to sleep, catch up. For example, like this time, I came back on Saturday. I arrived here at 2 a.m.
My goodness.
I hit my pillow and went to sleep at 3 a.m. But my staff had me going all day that same day, so I got up at 6 a.m. I think it was Brandon who came to pick me up that early. We started the first day in Yorba Linda, and then just going through doing the 6 events that day. But again, you elected me to go to Washington, D.C. to represent you, and I only get to come back on the weekend. So I try to be as visible and be accessible to our constituents as much as possible. And so I have the opportunity like this. Since I cannot reach 750,000 constituents that I represent, this is one way of letting you all know what we're working on your behalf. It's a small sliver of, just what I'm working on. But again, please contact my office, and we'll be available to answer any questions. But most importantly, I'm very proud of my team, especially in the constituent services. Just so far, we've helped close to 4,000 constituent casework, and we were able to return more than $21 million back into your pockets from IRS, Social Security, veterans benefits that you don't owe. But sometimes you get letters from them saying you owe, and then you end up paying. You come to us. We'll go fight for you. That's how we were able to recover the money for you. I'm really, really happy to have a very dedicated team that is putting the constituent services #1 priority in the district. And I do have a very wonderful legislative team that keeps me informed on anything that I'm working on and other things that I should be working on. So please look at us as a go-to office to help you with anything that you need. But I look at each and every one of you as an expert in your respective industry as a resource. So many of you, especially in financial services, mortgage bankers, realtors, insurance, anyone. I know I'm looking at my dear friends. I'm not going to name anyone because that's a very dangerous road to go down. But I look at you as experts. So please work with me in my office and my team so we can do a better job of representing you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. And I know before I head into any closing, I have some announcements, very important event coming up that I want to talk about. But before that, I know that your office mentioned that you have something for Orange Cafe.
Oh, yes, I do. All right. Nina, come here. I want to thank you and your entire team here at Orange Cafe Bistro for providing this venue for us to have this wonderful event. And I wanted to recognize you for being one of the job creators in Orange and being a member of the chamber as well. So I want to thank you. So please come here. Yes. So I want to present this to you.
Thank you. We appreciate everyone for coming. It's our pleasure to serve Orange. and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Nina. Okay, so for some announcements, I have to go with our next event first, which is our Board of Directors Installation and Gala. That's going to be next week on July 6th. Who here is coming? Yes.
That's everyone. I can tell you. That's
Pretty much everyone.
Am I coming? Oh, I'm coming. Okay. It's on my calendar. I'm coming. Okay.
We can't wait to have you. We're
Oh, so I am coming for sure.
Another thing on your agenda.
I live one day at a time, as you can see.
We're happy that you're going to be able to join us. We are
Yes.
going to have so much fun that night. It's an annual event that we all look forward to. We get to welcome our new board members, say goodbye to board members. This year we are going to have some fun. Our theme, what's the actual theme? It's 70s theme? Sort of a 70s theme.
Yeah.
We will have the Soul Train dancers there, so look forward to having a great time. If you have not purchased a ticket, please do so. Check with Connie on your way out. We do have some tables left, so I will be calling a couple of you guys today that are not here. I'm looking at you on Facebook to buy some tables, so we're looking forward to a great time. Other than that, we have our B&G, which is our business networking group. That's on the first and third Wednesdays. That is held at Zito's on Tustin. The next one is July 5th. We have some ribbon cuttings coming up. Please forgive me, I may not get this correct. We have Shri Sai Krish Institute. That is on the 28th. That's tomorrow. We also have Hotel Farah on the 29th. Also, last but not least, our next installment of Eggs and Issues, we are so excited to welcome back Senator Dave Menn. So we are looking forward to having him here with us. Go ahead and check our social media, as always, for details on location and tickets and everything that goes in between. Again, special thank you so much to Orange Cafe and Bistro. Lovely breakfast, delicious as always. Those of you who are only watching on Facebook are completely missing out on a great breakfast.
I second that. It is a full house. You're missing it.
A special thank you to all of our Chairman Circle sponsors. We could not do this without you, our board of directors, our members, and our staff. We will see you next month in July. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, everybody.